Hey guys, it's Adam from the Dimensional Gamer Squad here, bringing you with a new video with the old intro. Okay. Uh, and this one is going to be a ranking video on something a bit different. This will probably be my only ranking video of this series for a while, simply because we get new ones of these released at least once every year, maybe even more, I don't know. But this is just me ranking all the Disney Pixar films. Pixar's been around, I like to say a bit longer than me, but actually it's a lot longer than I've been alive. I've been alive for around 17 years. And Pixar's been around for 19. No, that's wrong. 24. Pixar's been around for 24 years. And I've only been around for 17. Well, years of it. So I can't really say I am a Pixar guy, but I like to say I am. Like, I grew up with most of the Pixar films, and I think I have right to say, okay, I could give my opinion on it. People won't really mind. So if my opinion's apparently wrong, then that's okay, because it's my opinion. My opinion is right to me. So, yeah, this is me ranking all the Pixar films that I've seen. I'm only saying the ones I've seen because there are 21 Pixar films and I've only seen 19. Yes, I've seen 19. So the films which will not be in this list, since it'll be unfair to rank them since I haven't seen them, is Brave and The Good Dinosaur. Which I heard from what I heard from friends, they're bad films. But I'm not going to say or agree with them. I'm not going to disagree or agree with them because I don't know. I've seen the other 19 films, so it was going to be 17, but I saw Coco and Toy Story 4 the other day, making it 19, so that's at least a bigger list. Now, remember, this is my opinion. If I'd love to know what your opinion is down in the comments below, so feel free to leave your entire ranking of it, top 5 or even top 3. Or just your favourite, I would be interested to know. Like, I guarantee you I'm going to have at least some hate from where I put a specific film on this. Because it's not high enough on this list. But we'll get to that later. In 19th place, or in last place, we have Cars 2. Pretty much everyone's least favourite film of Pixar. Because Cars 2 is obviously the sequel to Cars, but it isn't a good sequel. Like, I personally think the idea about spies is bad. I hated that it was focused all around Meta. And the only good thing about it that I liked was the World Grand Prix. But there was only a few minutes of that. And then we had to go to Meta doing spy stuff and all that. That is something which I was not a fan of. And I think you have to release a pretty bad film to be worse than Cars 2. Like, if there's a Pixar film to come out that has nothing good about it, then it's worse than Cars 2. If it has something good about it, it's better than Cars 2. But that's just my opinion. Cars 2 can honestly not exist. Honestly, I'll be happy if it doesn't exist. That way I won't need to remember this monstrosity of a movie. But there's really no redeeming qualities about it apart from the World Grand Prix, which is just mediocre. I guess the best Formula 1 racer made an appearance in it, called Lewis Hamilton. But that's it. 18th place, we have Cars. So, Cars 2 last, Cars next. Okay, Cars. I think the reason why it's here is simply because I didn't really find it good. Like, whoever thought it'd be a good idea to have talking cars? I guess it was an okay idea, but it wasn't very well received, I guess, or very well produced or executed. I don't know. But Cars, simply because I just found it kind of boring, if anything. Like, I like the racing scenes, but like I said in Cars 2, there's barely any of it. It's literally all like the beginning and the end. The middle, it could go die in the hole for all I care. The reason why it's higher than Cars 2 is simply because Mater wasn't the main focus on it. Instead, it was Lightning McQueen. And it was more based on the fact that a big shot city car has to get along with these country folk cars and learn how to be nice, basically. I'm not really sure how to put it, but that is apparently how it's done. I need to say though, Cars and Cars 2, they're both rather bad films, and honestly I'm not a big fan of any of them. 17 and up though are films I actually like. In 17th place we have A Bug's Life. Now, I'm actually really disappointed to put A Bug's Life here, because I actually really like this film. A Bug's Life, I think the reason why it's here is simply because it doesn't really have that many stick-out characters. Like, and I know they had that entire circus of insects or bugs where there's only one of them in the entire film. But I don't think that can help with the fact there's like hundreds of ants that look like the main character. That's not really good. If there's hundreds of other characters that looks like the main character being Flick, then it's not a good movie. I still like it though, more than Cars and Cars 2. The villain, Hopper. He's an alright villain, I guess, but unlike Cars 2 and Cars, with the main villain being Chick Hicks or whoever that professor guy was, but also that entire mafia like in Cars 2, Hopper isn't really memorable. There was nothing at all in the entire film that stuck out, like unlike the other films. But A Bug's Life is still actually pretty good, and I think my favourite bit about A Bug's Life was when I don't really know, because there's not really many memorable scenes from A Bug's Life. If I was to probably say, it'll be probably when they were making that bird, and when they were using the bird to scare the grasshoppers, which was good, I guess. But it wasn't exactly a memorable scene, since it kind of happens in every other movie, just in a different way. 16th place is... I actually didn't want to put this one here, but I had to because I kind of found it a bit boring. Ratatouille. Yeah, Ratatouille. I like Ratatouille, don't get me wrong. But I don't really think it deserves to be any higher in the list, simply because I like the other films a lot more. And it's just literally kind of a bit confusing when you see the storyline. A rat being trained by a chef to cook whilst controlling a human to cook the food for him. I mean, I got confused simply by saying that. The main villain, I can't remember his name, but the midget chef isn't a good one, and having Linguini related to Chef Cousteau, I think, is kind of stupid in my opinion. I still like the film, but it just wasn't that good. And if we're looking at all the other standalone Pixar films like Inside Out, Up, WALL-E and all that, Ratatouille just kind of blends into the background, just having nothing to say at all, because nothing happens in this movie. The most important thing that happened in that movie was probably the scene where the rats were actually cooking in the restaurant. but that's it. Nothing else happens in that movie. 15th place, I meant not 14th. 15th is Finding Dory. Okay, I need to say right now, the reason why it's above Ratatouille is simply because Sigourney Weaver, or the actress that played Ellen Ripley in Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3 and Alien Covenant. No, not Alien Covenant. Aliens Resurrection, I think. Whichever one's the fourth one. Made an appearance as there, and I love those films, so it was kind of surprising to see, oh my god, Sigourney Weaver's here. So I was really happy to find that out, but it wasn't, but if I ignore that, with the exception of Hank, and probably, to an extent, Destiny, there's really nothing interesting about this film. It's literally just a repeat of Finding Nemo, just with the fact that Dory's trying to find her parents instead of Marlin and Dory trying to find Nemo. Nothing interesting happens. It's just Dory wandering around, and I think this one was a bit of a misfire from Pixar, but it's also a pretty good film. It's mediocre at best. Moving on to number 14, we have Monsters University. Now, I need to say straight up, I don't understand why people hate this film. I liked Monsters University, and I think it just has to do with the fact that now I'm in college now. It's not the same as university, but it's pretty kind of relatable. You have so many monsters or humans or people that fits in different cliques and all that. Just going in their whole little squad and all that. Just wandering around, and then there's always that big competition that happens towards the end of the year, which, or in the middle of it, I don't even know where, which gets the entire college's or university's attention. But that does happen at my college. I wish it did, because it'll give some of us actually know, oh, so that's what another course does. No, it's literally just do one course, do it for the whole year, don't talk to anyone else. That's actually what it is. That's my college. Monster University, I think it's actually kind of a good film. It may have been the last film I went to see with my sister at the cinema, which may have some reasoning to be here. But it's actually, I liked it. I like the chemistry between Mike and Sully, where they started off not being friends, but then they ended up being the best of friends. And the side characters that was also in the Uzma Kappa, like Terry with an I and Terry with a Y, Art, Squishy, and I can't remember the other guy, but I think they're all good. They had their own scenes where they stick out, but I think the main thing that I liked most about it was the reasoning why Randall is such a bad guy. The reason why Randall is always angry at Sully and all that, but now we know why. Because Sully embarrassed Randall in front of their university. Coming in 13th place, we have Inside Out. Now, this is the one that I was like, yeah, they're probably going to disagree with me here. Inside Out is here. I need to give credit. It is the most unique film I've ever seen. Probably the most creative as well. But Inside Out is here because, unlike other people that found this unique and loved it, I kind of found it a bit boring. Like, the start of it was a bit boring. It had some entertaining values, but it was still kind of boring. Like, and it's, for the first few minutes, it's literally just all five of the emotions just standing around in this one room doing nothing at all. And then we just go on to where joy and sadness get separated from anger, disgust and fear, where it gets a bit better, but that's not a really good thing since they're polar opposites, so they have to try and get along, which is good. I liked that. But it just gets confusing to me, and I never really liked it because it just seemed to get a bit boring there for me. Bing Bong was a good character till he died, but I wouldn't say he's an amazing character. He just kind of fits in with all the other characters in that, where they just like stand there and do nothing. I mean, the reason why this film sticks out from Ratatouille and A Bug's Life is because, like I said, it is the most unique concept in any film in this franchise. But Pixar, Inside Out, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm sorry if you liked it, but I don't. If I was to give one thing I liked about it, probably be I think it has to be the chemistry between joy and sadness towards the end of the film. But there's one thing that never made sense to me. Why is it only sadness that can change the emotion on the memories, whilst joy, fear, anger, and disgust can't? And then there was a really obvious mess up in Inside Out, where it was like pretty obvious what you can do. Like, I can't remember what they're called. The workers send memories back to headquarters, I guess it is, to show off a memory which they just suddenly remembered. Why don't they do that with the core memories? I don't know. But because of that, not great at all. Nah. And it just gets confusing from there, and I'm going to move on because I'm losing track of what I'm talking about now. Moving on to number 12, we have Cars 3. Finally, this film's said here, because I can just picture some of you going like, where's Cars 3? If you hated Cars 1 and Cars 2, shouldn't Cars 3 be close? Cars 3 is what you call a solid sequel. I liked Cars 3. Cars 3 is similar to Toy Story 3, where it's like passing down a new generation to an old film. Apart from Toy Story 3 did it first, so Cars 3 is just copying and pasting it. But with this, Cars 3 is still, at the end of the day, just a crap ton of cars talking to each other and racing. But what makes this one great, in my opinion, unlike the others, is that I actually like the side story between it. Like, the relationship or chemistry between Lightning McQueen and Ramirez is good. Starting off being trainer and student, turning out swapping roles completely to student and trainer. Which I think is actually really good. And, then the main villain being, I can't remember his name. Jackson Storm, there we are. He is a bit of a bland villain like Hopper. But, I wouldn't say he's god-awful terrible. I would say he's just mediocre, but not amazing, not good, just there. Moving on to number 11, we have probably the most emotional first 10 minutes of any of these Pixar films. And that's Up. Up, as I said, has the most emotional 10 minutes of any of the Pixar films. Going through the entire life of two people, with one dying, and them starting off having this dream of going to Paradise Falls, but not. The rest of it just becomes an adventure with Carl and Russell going around South America trying to find Paradise Falls to plonk the house there. I think the thing I liked about it most is probably Doug. I absolutely loved Doug. But if I had to give more reason why I liked it, I think it has to do with the fact that with most adventure films, Carl learns something along the way where it's like, I need to change my priorities. Either this kid's life or my house. At the end of the day, he chose this kid's life, which paid off because now he won't die alone. Which, because now, and the fact they kept Doug, I'm just really happy they kept Doug. And Russell is not the brightest character there, but I still loved him. Russell is a great character. I loved him. Kevin, bit of a weird name for a female snipe, but okay. I'm not going to judge. It's still a good movie. But it's like that mediocre movie that just stands in between there because there's this really good scene at the beginning that makes the rest of it really bad. Never been able to live up to it. But it's still really good. I liked it. I can rewatch it time and time again. I can watch all of them, actually, apart from Cars and Cars 2. Willingly, anyway. Moving on to number 10. Man, we're at the final 10 and we have an entire quadrilogy to talk about now. None of the Toy Story films have been said yet. Until now. Number 10, Toy Story 2. This one, to most people, Toy Story 2 is the worst. Like, I liked Toy Story 2, but it's never been better than the other Toy Story films. I mean, it introduces Jessie and Bullseye, two very important characters in future films. But that's pretty much it. The main villain, Stinky Pete, just wants to rot in a museum for the rest of his life. Originally, Jessie and Bullseye were on his side, but they got persuaded by Woody to go, come and be a toy like you're supposed to be. And then just moving on, we have Al, who is pretty much one of the most stereotypical businessmen people I ever seen. And then it's the adventure that Buzz, Slinky, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, and Ham had, going round the city trying to find Woody, which is good, which is kind of okay. And then that road scene, which was had a bit of tension, but it's still pretty damn funny. But with that big adventure, the reason why it's at number 10 is because it's too big an adventure. It goes all over the place. It starts from Andy's room, going down to the yard, going over to Al's apartment, to Al's toy barn, going to an airport. This is going literally everywhere around the city. And that's what I don't like about it, because in the other Toy Story films, it's from one location to another. But in this one, it goes from one place to another, to another, to another, to another. Which is what I don't like about it, but I still need to say I loved the film. I will rewatch it time and time and again. Number 9, Toy Story 3. I don't even know how to describe Toy Story 3. It had the most menacing Toy Story villain out of all of them, being Lotso. And it's a nice wrap-up to the Andy trilogy. This film came out 15 years after the first Toy Story, which for the people who were kids when they first saw that, and now seeing this, they grew up with Andy, which is what I liked about it, and it's probably why it came out so many years after Toy Story 2. But the reason why Toy Story 3 is here is because, yeah, it's a great film. I think it's just the simple reason you can't beat the classic. Or, well, with the exception of 3 films here, you can't beat the films that are older. Because, the exception of, well, like I said, 3 films which came out rather recently, before Toy Story 3, you can't beat the originals. But, I think it has to do with the fact that Toy Story 3 is here simply because we kind of got over that axe of Buzz believing he's a space ranger, then him being basically brainwashed into thinking he is, and then being switched to Spanish mode, then back to English is how he became normal. That makes no sense. But I think I wouldn't say it's the best part, but one of the best parts in it, like a really good part, was probably the fact where this film made us all believe that the main characters are going to die. Which is good, but then at the end of the day, it's just been passed down to Bonnie, which opens up Toy Story 4 very well, even though most of us didn't think Toy Story 4 would come out. We just think it would just stay with Toy Story 3. But no, Toy Story 4. Okay, fine. Number 8, Finding Nemo. Legend has it, He's still wandering around the ocean trying to find himself. Finding Nemo. This was going to be number 6, but then I was like, wait a minute. I like these 2 other films more. So Finding Nemo just moved up to number 8. There's so many things I like about it. The side characters have all their memorable lines, which people quote on the daily. Especially the seagulls with the mine, 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 mine. Which is good. And what else? I think it has to be the adventure Marlin and Dory had. Which is what makes it very good. And that is actually where I kind of like Dory. Dory is better as a side character than the main character. Kind of like Mesa better being the side character than the main character in Cars 2. Or in Cars. But... And then there's Bruce the shark, which, I'll be honest, give many people nightmares. And when I first saw it, that Bruce, along with the opening scene, gave me nightmares as well. I was like 2, so I'm allowed to have nightmares. Then, after that, tragedy? I don't even know what the word is. After that event at the beginning of the movie, it's a pretty clear reason why Marlin's so protective over Nemo. But it's still a really good film, but I think it just has to do with the fact I've never been a big fan of the Finding Nemo, Finding Dory franchise. Like, the characters do stick out, but not a lot. So that's why it's number 8. It's still really good, but not as good as the other 7. Number 7, we have WALL-E. Now this one was going to be number 1. But WALL-E is here because the start of it is very well done, very well paced, and it shows so much for saying so little. But then it kind of took a very dramatic turn by going with this down-to-earth bit. Going all the way up here. Like, not even up there. Way up there. Like, way up there. Which... kind of changed the tone. And kind of slaughtered the film. But not completely slaughtered. Kind of like... slaughtered it a bit. It's not god-awful now, but... I think it would have been a lot better if it just stayed that down-to-earth kind of feeling. With the adventure happening down there. But the robots up in space are unique. They are very creative, and I think the thing I like most about it is the realization that of the captain and 2 of the passengers there. You're like, we can go home now, and the robots are basically saying, no, you're not going home. Please bear with me for a second. I'm sorry for this, but I'm not going to restart this recording. Right, sorry about that. We had a bit of unexpected company at the door. Professionalism! Okay, I was at Wally, I think. Yeah, great film, but not really subtle with its tone. Like, if it gradually started to change tone instead of went from one tone straight to another, I'd be happy with it, but I'm not. That's why it's 7. But moving on, I need to get this wrapped up now. Number 6, Toy Story 1. The one that started it all. I loved it. I really do. I like that Buzz actually thought Andy's room was a planet. And the fact that two characters who we never thought would get along ended up getting along at probably one of the worst places, being in the main villain's room. And then that whole moving scene where Andy and his mum was moving house with the truck behind them. Then it's just Buzz and Woody trying to get there. In the end, just utterly giving up and flying over it. Why not? And that's that. I loved it. It's actually a really good start to the film. And some of the films that came out after Toy Story, or most of them in that case, never stood up to what the original brought. Number 5, Toy Story 4. The perfect ending to Toy Story, the franchise. I don't want to say what it is since it did come out earlier this year, and I know some of you probably haven't watched it yet. But when you see it, you know exactly what I mean by you can never have a Toy Story 5. But that's what I said when I saw Toy Story 3, so I might be wrong. But the main villain is actually not really that much of a villain. She just wanted this one thing, which she ended up getting. She just wanted to be played with. Which, I actually was like, oh my god, she actually just wants that. Her henchmen are absolutely creepy, though. I would say that. I would say her henchmen are creepy. Then it has the return of Bo Peep, which, Bo Peep has completely changed her character from Toy Story 1 and 2 to now. Like, you can tell a lot has happened, and it just makes it rather good. And I liked that a lot. Number 4, we have... Thank you. That's my dog. Number 4, we have probably... I actually love this film. I really did. I don't think I will, but I do. Coco. Coco. Number 4, Coco. It's basically the Day of the Dead. And I never really celebrated this holiday, but but it's kind of a good holiday, and it's just really showing off how important it is to have a picture of your relatives hanged up somewhere so they could come and visit you. I loved the background. It's absolutely gorgeous. The villain was kind of predictable. And the reason why it's number 4 and not number 1, because I loved it, is how the villain got defeated. Is how Ernesto de la Cruz got defeated. And that's simply to do with the fact that we kind of saw something similar to it in Monsters, Inc. Like, the main villain said something in front of a camera, revealing it to tons of other people, or, in Monsters, Inc.'s case, the authorities, Coco, hundreds and thousands of people, or dead people, revealing it and losing his reputation entirely. That is the, that is the part that really stung for me, because I did not like that. God, my dogs are going at it. That's the part I didn't like. It really did sting, and I was really upset to find out it was just a repeat of what happened before. I'm going to quickly go again to make sure my dogs are not tearing whoever's out there to shreds. It's the same guy, don't worry. Okay, so forgive me for this rustling noise that you're now going to hear along with pants and all that. My dogs are now in here because this is the only room where they will not go crazy at whoever's outside. And no, it's not the white cat, for once. Number 4, yeah, Coco. As I said, an incredible movie. I absolutely loved it. But the main problem was the defeat of the villain. But other than that, it's a gorgeous movie. And kind of a good twist, but kind of predictable. But it doesn't mean I don't love it. Number 3, The Incredibles 2. Now, I'm honestly surprised a sequel made it this close to number 1. There's only one other film I could think of where the sequel is nearly good, better than the original. And that's in the DreamWorks realm, which I will be taking care of soon. I haven't seen all the DreamWorks films, like the Pixar films, but I think that'll be enough, because I'll have around 30 films to talk about at that one. So be looking forward to that when it comes out. The Incredibles 2. I loved it. It was actually a really good trip to the cinema. Unfortunately, the villain was kind of predictable. Like, if you have someone that's in quite a lot of scenes, but just sitting at the back, in the shadows, you're like, yeah, she's definitely the villain. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. You think? Yeah. I was not surprised to find out she was a villain. But there's something I liked about it, and that's probably similar to Toy Story 3. Where instead of having the adults be the main character, we have the children be the main characters there. Which is kind of like going on to the next generation, which I liked a lot. And it showed more character development with the children there, mainly Dash and Violet, which I really liked a lot. And then the final fight being on a ship, that was okay, I guess. I think the main problem I have with it is probably Jack, but I can't do anything about that because he did steal some scenes. But I didn't really like some of those scenes because I find Jack kind of annoying. And yes, I know it's just a baby, lay off, but hey, if a character ruins a scene for me, then a character ruins a scene for me. I prefer to have a character that I find kind of annoying be at the sidelines. Probably just appearing every now and then, but not appearing so often where it's like, ugh. But The Incredibles 2 is still actually a really good film. The villain is predictable, and Jack, I think, had a bit too much of the spotlight there, which I think Dash and Violet should have been shared with. Number 2, Monsters, Inc. Now, of course, this film... I'm a bit disappointed about this film. For really no important reason, but simply because it's 1 month older than me. Damn it. Monsters, Inc. I really did like it. It's actually a really good trip. I wouldn't say a really good trip to the cinema. It was out on DVD when I was born. So, but it's a really good film. I liked it. Randall and Mr. Waternoose are good villains. We find out why Randall's bad in Monster University. What Mr. Waternoose just wants to save his company. And you would think that something based around every child's worst nightmare, monsters. You think it would be a bit of a scary film, but no, it's literally just monsters trying to make children scream to provide energy for their civilization. And then that is actually really good. I liked that a lot. And then we move on to the end where it's just children laughing, which is just as good. If anything, the only problem I have with it is none of it. I liked it. I really did. Maybe, I don't know, the grudge that Randall held. I mean, the grudge that Randall held kind of made him the bad guy, which I liked. But I think it's mainly to do with the fact that it's the main reason why he's doing this. Not because he wants to try and make Monstropolis a more energy producing city. Just, I'm going to have that James P. Sullivan working for me. Which, okay. I'm not going to say anything about it, but Monsters Inc., I really did like it. Unfortunately, it's not number one. Number one, as you probably couldn't have told already, is The Incredibles. The Incredibles. Perfection on a plate. This is the first film I saw at any cinema I've been to. And I'm glad it was The Incredibles I saw first. I don't even know what to say. Maybe the fact that it's kind of relatable with the family trying to be like any normal family, but obviously they're not. And instead of it being the children which are the main focus, it's the adults, which is also unique. I need to straight up say this. Edna, best character in the movie. This is obviously a joke, but you can't argue. Edna's a really pretty much a meme right now. And then I think the thing I like most about it is the villain, Syndrome. I actually feel sympathy for Syndrome, because Syndrome, like ages ago, you go like, yes, I'm finally meeting my hero. I look up to him so much. Then he's a complete and utter jerk to him. Of course that will make you lose interest in that guy. Like, if I go up to my hero at the moment, and he goes like, go home, kids, you're too young or something, I don't know. That would tear me apart. That would actually destroy me. And, yeah, but I wouldn't say, I'd be like, I am now going to kill him. But, I really did like this movie. But the fact that Syndrome's reason for being evil is for the actions of the main character, that's what makes it kind of good. But at the end of the day, Syndrome is just a grown man. It's just a child stuck in a grown man's body, which I guess you can say for most other villains. But Syndrome's only reason to be a villain is because he doesn't want Mr. Incredible alive. He spent the last 15 years killing other superheroes that kind of match up to Mr. Incredible to build the perfect robot to kill Mr. Incredible. Did it work? No, it did not. And then his death. Going along what Ender says, no capes! Wear capes and you die, basically. Yeah. And then, that being said, that's actually the end of this ranking. So yeah, The Incredibles is my favourite Pixar film. The top, I don't know, top 10? Maybe top 8? Top 7? I don't even know. This list can change dramatically. Like, my number 1 can be like number 4 in a few days. Honestly, any of those top 5 films can be number 1. But as of now, it's The Incredibles 1. Probably will be for a while. And that is pretty much all for this video. But before I go, I need to say one last thing, so I forgot to say at the start of this video. Happy birthday, Lucas. And with that being said, that's all for this time. If you liked what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.